There's a lot to unpack here, mostly books and tampons and stuffed animals. Unpacking is a game where you do what the game says you do, unpack, over the course of like 30 years, from the time you're a little girl to the time you're 30 years older than that. The entire game, and I mean 100% of it, is spent point and clicking the stuff inside your boxes and putting it wherever it needs to go. And for as many times as your character moves, you'd think she'd be better at making sure the moving boxes are packed relevantly. Sometimes you'll be sorting through bathroom boxes and you'll take out a figurine of the Eiffel Tower. You could be in a kitchen box and find a tube of toothpaste. It's like she hired Luigi and his poltergust to just randomly suck everything up in her house and spit it into some boxes. But yeah, it's all just unpacking. As soon as you finish one instance, you immediately move on to the next after a little photograph caption like, "Finally, a fridge big enough for all my magnets." Then you see the year change and you're back in it with 12 more boxes to open up. Yay! There is no story in this game except what you can infer from the items you are unpacking and the state of the house or apartment you're moving into. In one instance, she's about college age, and you can only unpack in 3 of the rooms of the house, while other people's stuff is around. So you think to yourself, oh, roommates, and then you make sure everything you put away is crowding as much of their shit as possible, just to be a dick. I went in the bathroom and put my towels directly on top of their towels. I don't care, I'm gonna use your toothbrush too, bro. Hope you're ready to share some maxi pads. We're gonna party in this house. You have to make your own fun in this game because unpacking does not supply very much of it to you readily. It is exactly as dull as unpacking IRL, except it just wears out your wrist instead of your whole body. Every time I saw a new kitchen with 5 boxes in it after I had just finished sorting out everything in the kitchen from the last place we were at, I wanted to start a grease fire. I muscled my way through this game and in fact finally activated my free month of Xbox Game Pass on PC to play it because I read one glowing tweet review that called it something special that shouldn't be missed, which is a difficult thing to ignore. But what I played and completed here in probably less than 2 hours is just a game that strings you along with a mundane gameplay and keeps you on the hook for a satisfying twist or ending that never comes. I'll spoil it for you here because I don't think it matters at all, but I'll put a spoiler warning in the footage so you can skip if you want. Here goes. You're a little girl, you unpack. Then you're an older girl, you unpack. Then you go to that college dorm thing, you unpack. Then you move in with a dude, you unpack. Then you move back in with your parents after it presumably didn't work out, you unpack. Then you move in with a chick, you unpack. And then you move into a bigger house with the same chick and there's baby stuff now, you unpack. The end. The entire story is you're a girl, you grow up, you switch teams, and you live happily ever after while you stuff your drawers full of socks and bras over and over. No further details required. Do not expect Gone Home levels of indirect storytelling. This really is just a game where you put shit away repeatedly until you want to put yourself in a box and be lowered into the ground. So let's get to the game graph. We judge a game based on 4 categories now because challenge was pointless, and those are story, graphics, mechanics, and fun, before culminating in an overall score at the end. As aforementioned, the story is barely there and basically for you to decide. Why did it not work out between her and the initial businessman guy? Well, my theory is he was probably staying late at work all the time, so she suspected him of having an affair, so she went and had one of her own, and he came home early for once and caught her in the act, and after beating her lover out the door, confessed in anger that he was indeed also having an affair, so haha, freaking got him, and then naturally had to break off the engagement out of a mutual breach of trust. But hell, we'll never know. All I know is I rearranged the socks in his drawers because he was taking up 2 of them when he could have only used 1. He's clearly disorganized, so the only way he can stay focused at his demanding high-pressure job is probably with a consistent regimen of illegal stimulants. Though I didn't find any in his closet, so he must be good at hiding them. Yeah, story gets a 20. It makes you do all the work for no payoff. Graphics are fine, things look like what they are for the most part. Sometimes I had no idea what a thing was, so I just had to guess where it went. I generally like to give 50s out when it's nothing special and doesn't matter, so here you go. Mechanics, yes, very nice. The pointing and clicking are executed to perfection. Every time you click on something and then click where it should go, it will go to the place you clicked on with minimal resistance. You can even rotate things, except when you can't. What I like the least about this game, but what is also probably the most important mechanic in order to not be absolutely brainless, is that items actually have to go in logical places or they flash red after all the boxes have been emptied, and then you have to go through all the rooms again and make sure you didn't put your hair straightener in the bathtub. Some areas, especially the kitchen, are particularly particular about where each individual thing should go, like, oh, you can put bowls on the middle shelf but not the top shelf, and I guess toasters can't be on the counter unless they're in the very back of the counter. It's frustrating after immediately. Mechanics get a 60 because they work, take it to the bank. Now for fun, and in case it wasn't obvious, I do not find this game to be fun at all. I sort of liked the very first room I did, and then everything after that was like, oh, just more of that, in more rooms with nothing in between. game. There's just no reason to play. If I had to guess the whole damn story anyway, I could have stopped after the first room, had a 10-minute playtime, and called it a day. I don't think it's even mildly compelling, and I reject the notion that it might be compared to other indie games that actually do this kind of thing adequately. Fun is a solid 30. So now we come to the overall score, and Unpacking gets to unpack this fat 40 out of 100. This game could have gotten 30 points higher by doing two things. One, actually telling a story to break up the ridiculously monotonous gameplay, and two, making that story dark. It would still just be you putting plants in places they shouldn't go, but at least the underlying tone would be interesting. Well, that's gonna do it for this game graph. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch, both Sunburned, Albino. Watch every other video I've ever made, and I'll see you guys next time.